The heat dome we had earlier this year was surprising. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was kind of overwhelming for never having experienced that kind of heat. Like consistently through the morning, through the evening, through the next morning, through the next evening, and you're just like, how are we going to deal with this? But there's places all over the world where people are always in that kind of heat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, we're not equipped to. We're not used to this. We're not.
Yeah.
You know, I had a giant pail, like a giant Tupperware container full of water that I would keep in the fridge. And then I would pull it out of the fridge and I'd go sit on the couch and I'd put my feet in that water and it would hurt because it was so cold. And then like I would take a face cloth and wet it and rub it on my legs to cool down. And I would like have a face cloth on my face and stuff. And it's like, and all the windows and all the drapes in our house are shut. So like sun can't penetrate.
Yep.
And it's still like 29 degrees. It's just like,
that feels awful. Like, not telling yourself don't open the windows because it'll get hotter.
Yeah.
When you're used to opening the windows to cool off.
You're just waiting. Like, can we get a fan running in here? We did buy a box fan and we had that set up with like filters on it, so it would actually filter the air and everything too. So like we're running the fan in the house and trying to use that to help us cool down. It's just like this is too much. Yeah. And so people are like, you don't have air conditioning. It's like no. Most places this is gonna sound weird to you. Most places on the West Coast don't have air conditioning because it never gets above 26, 27 degrees. It's only if you generally have a much newer unit, or if you have if you live in a single family dwelling that you've put it on, because AC by and large barely gets turned on. So there's not much point in buying it in the first place. And so most condos and apartment buildings and townhouses and all that never seem to have AC.
Unless you move to Vancouver from Georgia. And then you're getting off the plane when your wife tells you, oh yes, the apartment we've rented has no AC. I didn't tell Daniel until we were actively getting like deplaning in Vancouver at the airport.
Right.
I didn't want to face that whole situation with him. And so I didn't. Everywhere in Georgia has AC, much the same way that everywhere up here has heat, because people die from not having it.
Yeah.
It's a very significant problem in the South, and it's becoming more of a problem for us up here in the Northwest. But we have like window units that we use. They sit on the ground and then they have a hose that goes out the window.
Yeah, I've seen those.
And I feel bad when we turn them on because I know we're using more power than I want to be, but also I feel good when we turn them on because then I'm not dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a necessity to them, right? I tell myself that it's okay because at least in BC, hydro picks up, I think, almost 100% of all of our power anyway. And I'm like, okay, at least it's renewable. It's it's hard on the environment in other ways, but at least it is a renewable resource, and we're not burning stuff to cool our house. Right. But we didn't buy a window unit or do anything else like that. So I was like, oh,
I mean, I don't really like. I'm not a fan of window units.
The ones that go in the window or the ones that sit?
The ones that go in the window.
Yeah.
The ones that sit, I'm always like worried they're gonna fall off or something weird.
Yeah, these stand about waist high, and they sit on the floor inside our house.
Mm-hmm.
So
the portable unit, yeah.
I'm not afraid it'll fall out, but they are annoying because it's like, well, I would like my house to look nice. But that's there.
Yeah. And they definitely take up, like, now I have this huge lump that sits in my living room or wherever.
Yeah. And I only use it for half the year, but where am I going to put it when I don't have the closet space to store it? So it just sits there.
Yeah, they're not. And yes.
Oh yeah, portable AC is loud as heck, and so it doesn't get used when Daniel's doing a recording day, which is every Saturday.
Yeah.
So
you do a lot of recording or stream in the studio wherein there's a little like fan,
Dyson hot cold fan
that is great for the space that we're in. But if you have it turned on and you're streaming, it does this weird thing where the mic and the compression
are constantly, the gate is just fighting.
And so you get like a weird robotic sounding thing going on.
Like you're talking through the fan.
Yeah.
And we have that Honeywell's still here. People are like, I miss Honeywell. It's like, well, Honeywell is still in the moon base. Honeywell just doesn't get used very often.
Ooh, the moon, it's coming back.
Hey, I'm glad we stuck around.
It's so big.
Yeah, it's the moon.
I know, but like,
you ever bottled the moon?
You know,
catch it in a barrel and stick a lid over it.
If I hold my cup right, I could have it descend into my teacup. But as I crash the bus.
we had a talk here actually at the moon base after about the first 2 or 3 years we were here. We realized that this Studio A has multiple monitors and two PCs running all the time, like 2 high-powered PCs running all the time,
geez.
because we take the old gaming PC and we make it into the stream PC, and then we get a new gaming PC essentially.
Yeah.
Because that way we're always at the forefront of whatever heavy lifting we need. Yeah, you rotate things out, and then the old stream PC has gone to another location, and we're going to use that for other things. But as a result of that, it means that like heat is in the LED lights. LEDs generate heat, right? So even if they don't use much power, they're still going to generate a lot of heat. And if you get 2 bodies in the same room and they're active, like the Loud Boys on Let's Know, it gets warm in this room. And the AC is okay, but it ain't great because there's no thermostat. This is not dedicated AC in this room.
You don't need that much movement, like any kind of movement, really. Like if you're doing a lot of arms, the amount of dancing we do at the beginning of Zeta Shift, that kind of can be enough of a heat add to your stream setup that it's uncomfortable.
And so we had thought briefly about what about getting a heat pump, like something from oh, look at that, Mr. Horrible.
Thank you for that 1K dough.
That's a
nation.
big
Say
dough.
all the words.
Yeah. Thank you for the 1,000. That's so cool.